Wights in Dungeons and Dragons are a step above zombies and skeletons. They're not just random corpses thrown at the party. They're intelligent undead, capable of leading lesser undead, and even creating more of them if they slay a humanoid with their life drain. They've always given me a sort of squad leader, commander, or a shock trooper vibe. They don't just sit in the back giving orders. They lead from the front, fighting alongside their undead fodder and cutting down anyone unfortunate enough to get in their way. Some wights might stalk old battlefields with a pack of corpses at their back. Others might linger in crypts, tombs, or ruined keeps, letting zombies and skeletons roam ahead of them as sentries, distractions, or expendable bodies. So, when revising the Wight, I wanted to lean into that identity. An undead field commander who is dangerous on its own, but even worse when surrounded by the dead. This version of the Wight still has the same core identity you'd get from a Wight. However, it's been pushed a bit harder into that battlefield commander role. I've changed some core stats of the Wight, such as the armor class. I've changed it to 16 because it now wears a breastplate. That's a pretty noticeable durability bump, a solid +2 to its AC from its vanilla counterpart, but I think it fits. This isn't meant to be disposable undead fodder, at least not when it's not under the control of an even higher undead. Zombies and skeletons are the disposable ones. The Wight is the thing commanding them. It should be harder to bring down. I also increased its strength and charisma. The strength increase helps sell the idea that this creature is a frontline undead warrior. It isn't just some brittle corpse swinging a sword. It's a corpse animated by hate, dark magic, and sheer willpower. The charisma increase matters because wights are supposed to have presence. They aren't mindless. They understand what they are doing, they can lead, and they can inspire fear or obedience in lesser undead. Now, one of the first major additions is Unholy Presence. Allied undead within 15 feet of the Wight gain a +1 bonus to their attack rolls, damage rolls, and AC. This is the main trait that turns the Wight from stronger undead guy into undead squad leader. The bonus is intentionally small, but it matters. A +1 to attack, damage, and AC is not overwhelming on its own, but across multiple zombies or skeletons, it starts adding up quickly. This also encourages the Wight to stay near its minions instead of just standing in the back. It wants to be close enough to empower them, but not so close that it gets surrounded and destroyed immediately. That creates an actual tactical question for the players. Do they focus the zombies and skeletons first, or do they try to break through the front line and take out the Wight? Because as long as the Wight is standing, all of those lesser undead are just a little bit better. And sometimes, a little bit better is all they need. Next, let's talk about its attacks. The necrotic crossbow is the only real difference in its attack structure. It effectively does the same thing as its longbow from its vanilla counterpart, but I changed the weapon to a crossbow because I think it fits the Wight better. It feels more militaristic, more deliberate, more like something a dead soldier, guard captain, or commander would carry. I'm also just a fan of crossbow aesthetic. Where skeletons might be simple archers or basic range fodder, the Wight feels like it should be a little more equipped, a little more disciplined, a little more dangerous. Now, for the big classic ability, Life Drain. This is one of the main things that separates wights from most lesser undead. The target makes a Constitution saving throw. On a failure, it takes necrotic damage. The Wight regains hit points equal to the damage taken, and the target's hit point maximum is reduced by the same amount. The HP reduction is nasty on its own, but overall, the ability does a few things at once. First, it gives the Wight sustain. If the party lets it keep using Life Drain, it can undo some of the damage they've dealt to it. I feel the life it drains from its target should go somewhere, and this addresses that. Second, it creates pressure. Losing maximum hit points is much scarier than just taking damage, because you can't just throw a normal healing spell at the problem and fully fix it. Third, it reinforces the Wight's identity as something that consumes life. It doesn't just kill you, it hollows you out. And of course, if a humanoid is slain by Life Drain, they rise 24 hours later as a zombie under the Wight's control. Note that I've increased the damage slightly by increasing the dice count, but lowering the size of them overall. Its modifiers also increased because I believe life drains scales off of its charisma, which further solidifies my belief about it being a leader, even if a low-tier one. That part is important because it ties directly into the Wight's role in an undead hierarchy. Zombies and skeletons are the troops. The Wight is the thing making sure there are always more troops. The next addition is Dreaded Command, which is a bonus action. The Wight chooses an allied undead it can see within 30 feet, and that undead moves up to its movement speed without provoking opportunity attacks. This is probably my favorite addition to the stat block, because it gives the Wight a very simple way to actually command the battlefield. It doesn't need a complicated legendary action system. It doesn't need a whole list of tactical maneuvers. It just points, commands, and something moves. This lets the Wight reposition zombies into the front line, move skeletons away from danger, send an undead minion toward a wounded target, or pull a creature out of a bad position without eating opportunity attacks. And because it uses the Wight's bonus action, it gives the DM something meaningful to do every round beyond just attacking twice. That matters a lot. A monster that attacks and ends its turn is fine, but a monster that changes the battlefield is much more memorable. This also works especially well with the revised zombies and skeletons. A zombie can be moved into position to threaten a grapple. A skeleton can be pulled back into cover or repositioned for a shot. A damaged undead can be moved out of melee just long enough to be annoying. The Wight is not just doing damage. It's making the rest of the encounter function better. Then we have parry as a reaction. When the Wight is hit by an attack roll while holding a weapon, it adds 2 to its AC against that attack, potentially causing it to miss. This is a simple feature, but I like it for this creature. It reinforces that the Wight is not a mindless undead brute. It knows how to fight. It can defend itself. It has enough martial skill and awareness to turn aside a blow. Mechanically, this also helps it survive a little longer without just inflating its hit points. And that's important because the Wight should feel durable, but not like a massive bag of hit points. It should feel like a dangerous undead warrior that knows what it's doing. Now, let's talk about how I would actually use this creature. A Wight should almost never be alone unless you specifically wanted to feel like a lone duelist or a cursed warrior haunting a tomb. Most of the time, it should have lesser undead around it. Zombies hold the front line. Skeletons provide range pressure. The Wight stays close enough to empower them with unholy presence while using Dreaded Command to move them into better positions. The encounter should feel like the party is not just fighting a pile of undead bodies. They're fighting a formation, even a crude one. Imagine the party entering a crypt chamber. A few zombies shamble forward, skeletons start firing from the back, and then the Wight steps out from behind them. Suddenly, the zombies are slightly harder to hit. The skeletons are slightly more accurate. One zombie gets commanded forward and moves straight into position without provoking opportunity attacks. Now, the players have to make choices. Do they burn actions clearing the zombies? Do they rush the Wight? Do they deal with the skeletons first? Do they risk staying grouped up? That's what I want from this version. Not just higher numbers, but better pressure. This version also lets Wights stay relevant longer than basic undead. At low levels, it can be a serious boss encounter. At mid levels, it can act as an elite enemy, supporting a larger undead force. Even at higher levels, it can still matter if it is protected by enough bodies and used intelligently. It probably won't kill a high-level party by itself, and it shouldn't. But it can make the rest of the encounter worse. And sometimes that is more valuable than raw damage. A zombie grapple is more dangerous when the Wight is nearby. A skeleton shot is more annoying when the Wight is boosting it. A weak undead minion becomes more important when the Wight can move it into exactly the wrong place at exactly the wrong time. That's the whole point. The Wight is not just another undead. It is the thing that makes the lesser undead feel coordinated. So overall, my goal with this redesign was simple. I wanted the Wight to feel like the natural next step after zombies and skeletons. Zombies are the bodies. Skeletons are the weapons. The Wight is the will behind them. It leads from the front, empowers nearby undead, drains life from the living, and commands its minions into position. It is still recognizably a Wight, but now it better fits the role I always imagined for it. An undead commander, a battlefield horror, and the kind of monster that makes even basic zombies and skeletons feel dangerous again.